Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. I am super thrilled because today we have two of our episode sponsors that's right here in the virtual studio audience. I'm quite excited to have Dr. Jody Bear here, and she's America's top health coach. And then I also have Samantha Benson, who is the final expense life specialist nationwide. And I cannot wait for you all to grab your virtual seats and to get to learn more about our episode sponsors today. Anytime they take the opportunity to be able to support the Kim Jacobs Show and to be able to pour into this broadcast so that you all can get better balance in your lives, I am so honored to have this partnership with them. And now these aren't our only sponsors, so you'll get to hear from other sponsors throughout the year as well. But I want to take a moment right now just to acknowledge them and thank them for being in the studio audience today. Many of you also know I celebrated a birthday, so feel free to put some birthday shout outs if you want to as well. But we're going to go ahead and kick today's episode off, and we're going to get started with our first episode sponsor, which is Samantha Benson. Let's kick the show. Hello, everyone. I'm very grateful that you took the time to tune in to today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. Listen, we have a great show lined up for you. I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real relevant and relatable content on today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. All right, everyone. Yes, it is the Kim Jacobs Show, and we are here with Samantha Benson. How are you, Samantha?
Good morning. I'm fantastic. How are you? And happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so happy that you are here with me today. And you know what? I really want people to hear about some of your backstory. A lot of times when people are sponsors for programs, they don't get a chance to know who is behind that particular advertisement, right? So I want people to know more about you as an individual, and then also we'll get to learn more about your services and what you do. So take us back and tell us a little bit about you and some of the things you've encountered in life. You've been through a lot.
Oh, yes. Thank you. And I'm going to keep it pretty brief because I really don't like talking about myself. I love just helping other people. But my background, my story is I experienced trauma at an early age with death in my life. Very quickly, when I was about 9 years old, my godfather was actually murdered in Brooklyn, New York. And that was my first experience with death. I didn't go to the funeral. I didn't want to. So my family, adhered to my wishes.
Right.
The next experience I had with death was at the age of 16 when my grandfather died. And then after that, it was in the early 90s, every 2 years. My father died just before I turned 20. My older sister died when I turned 22. And my mother died 4 months after my 24th birthday. So very, very traumatic life for me, but actually that's a blessing for what we're going to be speaking of. But fast forward, I am a mother of two beautiful children, a 27-year-old son who lives in Alexandria, Virginia, and my 23-year-old daughter who is just fabulous, who has just come back to Charlotte to work and do her own thing here. And I am a business owner of Getinsured.solutions. And I am a solution. And you're going to hear about one specific solution that I have today on the Kim Jacobs Show.
Wow. Okay. I mean, first of all, those are some significant people in your life that have transitioned from this earth. And so that is extremely traumatizing. And you named Godfather, your sister, your mom, your dad. These are some of the most important people in our lives. So
Yes.
how did that shape you into who you are today to have all of those loved ones transition from this earth?
Oh, well, for me, I just kind of put it under the rug like a lot of people do, Kim.
Yeah.
Out of sight, out of mind. You don't want to think about this subject that, death. And you just keep moving. And that's what I did for a very, very long time, until things happened where it changed me going into the field that I'm in, which was actually really healing to me. And so that's why I'm very passionate about what I do with Getinsured.solutions. As a final expense insurance specialist that's nationwide.
Hmm. Wow, that
Because
that
my background actually is financial management, but I worked in financial management sector. I've worked in the commercial insurance sector, but this is actually my calling. So I've transitioned out of those two sectors, being a specialist in final expense insurance, life insurance.
Okay. So that's very intentional that you went into that particular transition into final expense life insurance in particular. What is financial
I'm
last
sorry, could
like
you repeat that again?
I said what is final expense life insurance so people know what it actually is?
Final expense, what is
Okay.
it? Okay,
Yes. Can you oh you can't hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, okay.
Yes. Well, final expense protects existing life insurance that you currently have. I've heard from people who say, well, I don't need, I'm insurance poor. You can never be insurance poor.
Right.
Most of the time, majority of the time, people are actually underinsured, but final expense protects the existing life insurance that you have because it's life versus final. Okay, it's two different things. Um, so the final expense life insurance protects the other insurances that you have so that can transition onto your family the way life is meant to be as a legacy. And so the final expenses takes care of the immediate expenses after a loved one may die,
Okay.
or you can utilize it while you are alive.
Interesting.
Mhm.
So I didn't some of the stuff I don't know myself, and I know I've worked with you, and you are very helpful to me. And everything that your company offers, they stand true to what they actually say they're going to do. They do it in situations, and so I really like that. I like to be able to endorse some group or company that I know stands behind what they're really saying they do, and so I can say that, and I'm proud of that. But when you're saying,
Integrity is very important to me,
mhm.
and what I do for individual families across the country. Um, that's very important that you stand by what you say.
That's really good. So, if people are interested in learning more about final expense life insurance, what steps would they need to take to be able to connect with you and to learn more about these particular services?
Yes. Well, final expense, Kim, as you know, is just the tip. With the final expense that I provide across the country, it's a permanent whole life that's attached and it's customized to every individual and individual family. Along with what I do has a funeral advocacy piece. That funeral advocacy piece, we need to step in and we negotiate the cost of the funerals and the cremations down
Wow.
across the country, because we want to help reduce the stress and the financial burden that comes with death. And see, those were the things that happened to me during my 20s,
Right.
2022, 24, and actually 33, um, when my grandmother died. And so had I had known and had this for myself,
Mhm.
I would have utilized it 30 years ago.
But at that time, you didn't know about these services yourself, so you were just going through
No.
the traditional way of life insurance policies,
Yes.
assign them, see what can
Yes.
be applied. What's left is what the family
Yes.
works from, right? Is that
Mhm.
typically how it works?
That is absolutely, you're spot on with that, because people want, when they get life insurance, Kim, they think about, okay, I'm going to have some inheritance to leave to my daughter, my son, to a
Right.
nonprofit, whatever organization it may be. But then as the person gets older in age, then they change and they shift and they tell their daughter, son, niece, nephew, or whomever, well, I got a $25,000 life insurance policy, or I have a $50,000 term policy, whatever it may be. And you're going to be able to use that for when I die. So now their brain has shifted,
Mhm.
and that's not the case. But the funeral advocacy piece, we go in, my team of experts, we negotiate with more than one funeral home. We bring that cost down. The funeral merchandise comes from our program at wholesale cost, which also helps the family. And then those final expense from the insurance whole life policy is going to be utilized to be dispersed to that. And then they'll have ready cash flow immediately, oftentimes within 24 hours after all necessary paperwork has been completed.
Within
And
24
sometimes
hours,
we've
what
been able,
happens? Say that with that, clarify that.
oh, within 24 hours, that means that the extra monies that are maybe left from that life insurance policy
Okay.
is going to be dispersed back to the primary beneficiary.
Okay.
So we're going to ask you, and do you want that at certified check by FedEx, or do you want that in standard mail?
Excellent.
But it just takes the pressure off of the family member having that funeral advocacy that's attached to our final expense, and it's a permanent whole life. And because I'm an insurance specialist, Kim, I'm able to qualify from no health conditions to stage 4 cancer,
Yes.
Alzheimer's, dementia, sickle cell, HIV, AIDS, and incarceration.
That's
You
interesting.
don't find.
Let me interject for one quick second there, because what I want everyone that's watching to know from our episode sponsor Samantha Benson with Getinsured.solutions is
Mhm.
that she's able to and she's certified to do this, to help you get that coverage for your family members, your loved ones, without necessarily having to have a major health and wellness kind of check. Is that correct? Am I saying that right?
Yes, that's absolutely correct.
Hmm.
Um, for
That's
instance,
huge.
for instance, a lot of insurance companies will deny someone who is type 1 diabetes. They cannot get
Yes.
insurance at all except through me as a specialist. Oftentimes, a type 2 person with diabetes also are denied by other insurance companies. But because I specialize from as far as Alaska to Puerto Rico, and I'm licensed across the country, I'm able to assist anyone. And you don't wake up, Kim, and say, I want to have a stroke. You don't
Right.
wake up and say, oh, author, come get me, arthritis.
Right, right, right.
And so, yeah, and this is permanent whole life. So that means I have accidental death that's attached to it. It doesn't stop at a certain age. It continues on because people are living a lot longer, into their hundreds.
Yes.
So it's very, very beneficial to individual families to have even a supplemental um, to the existing life insurance that they have, because now I'm protecting whether it's a $10,000 policy or a $10 million policy.
That's really good. So it's not like, so there's no policy that's too small and no policy that's too large in this particular scenario. Is there just like an average type of policy amount that you recommend people get their family members insured for?
Well, Kim, it's based on a couple of different things when I'm qualifying a person. And remember, everything is customized. So
Right.
no pun to Geico, but I don't do quotes. I have concierge service to everyone,
I
whether
have
they're on a
Geico, by the way, so I like Geico too. So
and and
we definitely know
and I
Poncia.
had Geico for a very long time. So no punts. I don't need a lawsuit with Geico, but I don't do general quotes. I customize concierge service to every individual needs. And so this particular final expense, I can qualify an individual from 1,000 up to $30,000. So when I'm gathering their specific information, it's going to tell me where they qualify, and then I'm going to customize it to meet them where they're at. And
Okay.
so it doesn't matter if a person is on disability or is on a fixed income or Social Security.
Good. That's some
Yes.
really good information. And if you all in the studio audience, if you have questions or comments and you want to know about final expense life insurance, definitely type them in the comment section. And let's give Samantha a chance to answer any questions that you may have personally. And what I want to do too today, just so you know, I'm talking right now with one of our episode sponsors. We have another one that's joining us as well, Dr. Jody Baer, and she'll be joining us shortly. And today's episode is sponsored by Getinsured.solutions. And this is the owner of Getinsured.solutions, which is Samantha Benson. That's who's here talking with us today. So if you have questions, please type them in the comment section. And even if you're watching the replay, she'll go back and look at those questions and hopefully be able to answer them for you. The phone number that they can stay connected with you, Samantha, is where?
It is 704-499-3616.
704-499-3616 is the phone number. I am going to just play your commercial and then come back and talk some more with you. See if you
Oh,
have any
great.
other comments that you want to share or advice, words of wisdom, because I think people are nervous. I would like to kind of talk about this for a brief moment when we come back. People are nervous when it comes to dealing with life insurance and final life expense insurance because it's just like taboo. You don't want to talk about it. You have to sometimes talk to the person directly. And then that's like how dare you bring up something about my death? It's like, what? This is should be normal to have these conversations. But it's not. It's really offensive to people. So when we come back, I want to talk about that for a minute. Can you address
Sure.
that?
I sure will.
All right. All right. Listen, we're going to go to Samantha Benson's commercial. And Mackenzie, I know you're helping me. I'll go ahead and play this one because I didn't tell you about it in advance. So let me go right to Getinsured.solutions.
Nothing says I love you more than final expense insurance whole life protection. With funeral advocacy nationwide, saving you and your family 30 to 80% off funerals and cremations. Nothing says I love you more than Getinsured.solutions, LLC. Getinsured.solutions, 704-499-3616.
Now, why is it such taboo for people to have these discussions, Samantha Benson? Please educate us.
Yes, ma'am. Well, life insurance in general, Kim, when people think of life insurance, they think of death because that is the way the funeral industry has conditioned people to think. So, whether when they have a job, they have life insurance on the job sometimes if the company offers it, but also people don't own that life insurance. Yes, they're paying on the premiums, but they're not the physical property owners of those life insurance policies. But again, that's the way that funeral homes owners and directors across the country from west to east coast have conditioned people to believe, because that's one of the things that they ask when someone comes in when a loved one has died. Do you have life insurance? So now that's really, really embedded in your subconsciousness, and that's why people don't want to talk about it.
Interesting. Yeah, because when you go to the funeral home, you have to have certain paperwork and things ready to go. and then it's not the time to start trying to find the policies or trying to find what you have available. So all of this that you're talking about seems like it's that pre-work that's necessary. So then you have an advocate working on your behalf when the
Yeah,
person passes away, right?
that's correct. That's correct. I had one of my families, and I don't call anyone my client. They really do become a part of my family, because when I get a call, whether it's at 8:30 in the morning, or sometimes it has been, I've gotten even a text message, Samantha, my loved ones died. It's 3 a.m. in the morning. I've got to help that individual, family member or family members, because it's trauma. You go into shock, and so there's a lot of things that myself and my team does to help that individual family or family members, calming them down, because they can have a stroke, they can have a heart attack. I have a young lady here in Charlotte. Her mother is in her early 60s, and in January her mother had a stroke. And in the midst of her mother having a stroke, she had a heart attack at the hospital because she was so stressed. So, death can occur at any given time, and, I understand people think final expense as a final thing, but it's not. It is what I've shared with you. You're getting your house in order. Just like, you were getting your house in order for maybe a birthday party or whatever it may be.
Right.
Because you're protecting yourself, you're protecting your family. And one of the great things about my program with the membership on that funeral advocacy that's attached to the life insurance, it not only protects you, Kim, as the individual, you're able to protect 4 other family members on this funeral advocacy. So now it's full circle. You're protecting full circle of the family.
That's good. And that's even whether you have a policy on those individuals or not. Like I know I
That's correct.
personally did not have a policy on some people at all, but because I had listed their names as the individuals that would benefit if anything had ever happened in their lives, it was still some benefit to them for funeral advocacy. So that's stuff that you can learn a lot more about from Samantha Benson. And I see a question or a comment here, and I don't have my glasses. So can you read that out? I left my glasses somewhere else.
Wait, let me put my glasses on.
Oh, you got your glasses? Mine is over somewhere. I have to get up to go get them. Lord have mercy.
Okay. All right. It says my aunt had 100 grand in it, and now my uncle has time to grieve. She just died 2 weeks ago from cancer. I'm not understanding the question.
Mackenzie, if you could clarify what the question might be so we can get that answered for you, we'd greatly appreciate it. I think she's saying that maybe she had a policy for 100,000 or something, and I'm not sure either. But just once you clarify the question a little bit more, Mackenzie, that'll help us be able to get an answer for you. And any other questions that you all have as well, please put them in the comment section, and we'll do everything we can to answer it for you.
And Kim, I just want to say one thing too. My funeral advocacy not only protects the family with the negotiations with the funeral homes, but there are also other living benefits that I'm not going to get into. But that means that you and your 4 other family members, household members, can also have those living benefits. And so it's a lot of savings. And in this time of inflation, where what's going on, the Funeral Home Association has stated a few years ago that in the next 15 years, that funerals are going to start at $30,000.
Yeah.
And across the country right now, cremations are ranging anywhere from $6,000 to $12,000.
That's right. And it's a very expensive process by the time you put everything that's needed for your loved one to be properly honored and for their celebration of life. You certain caskets and you want a certain quality and all of it. Even if it is cremation, there are certain things you want, certain urns. It's like it's a lot of factors. You want the headstone too. By the time everything totals up, you're like, what in the
Yes.
world? Nobody's prepared for that unless even with the insurance policies, you may have to have a lot of bulk policies in order for you to have something that's going to be left for those that are still remaining to benefit from in some regard. But most people that
And
I
that's
know that
right. That's right, Kim, because also, families associate the funeral with also being the cemetery.
right.
Those are two separate entities. They're in the same field, like Walmart and Target, but they're two different companies.
That's right. That's right.
And so, I was in Gaffney, South Carolina, just about 2.5 months, no, about 2 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually stopped at one of the cemeteries down there, something that I don't regularly do,
Right.
but I did. And the plot at the cemetery alone was $10,000.
Yes.
And so that is separate from an actual funeral.
Right.
And there are other things that the cemetery may charge you on top, opening and closing of the grave, even though you may own a cemetery plot. Those are back end things that family members don't think about. And at any given time, in the industry, those owners can change the price guidelines.
Yes, they can. Yes. Wow. Okay, so Mackenzie responded and she said that just saying she had an insurance policy, and thank goodness that she did, now that my uncle doesn't have to work and can grieve with their 3 young kids. So she's saying because her grandmother had the policy, then now the son is able to benefit from that and work through all the things that's happening with the loss of the mother.
And I'm glad she stated that. Thank you, Mackenzie, for
Thank
that,
you, Mackenzie.
because that's what life insurance is meant to do. The job only gives you 3 days of bereavement, and they expect you to come back in your right mind, like before death occurred. And grieving is 5 different stages. So I know of a young lady who just could not function, and so the job let her go.
Wow.
And so if she, fortunately for Mackenzie's uncle, the grandmother had this policy, $100,000. He's able to take time to grieve, but you still got to look at in today's world, $100,000 is really like 10,000.
Okay. Yeah. And this actually is her aunt that she's referring to. So the uncle is actually the husband.
My
That's
apology.
because I had that all
Yes.
wrong.
My
So
apologies.
Mackenzie, who works with me at the Kim Jacobs Show backstage, she actually had an aunt recently transition from this earth, and beautiful tribute and testimonies and stories. I was able to witness quite a beautiful scenario with her being a mom of 3. I think one of them was a set of twins. And anyway, the husband is able to care for their 3 children is what's happening. And so it's her aunt, not a grandmom in that case. Sorry about
Thank
that.
you. Thank you for that correction.
Clarifying that, Mackenzie.
Thank you.
And again, this is very fresh situation for Mackenzie and her family, and they are definitely still grieving. So keep the Mackenzie Rhodes and the entire family and Kreitz family, everyone in your prayers. All right.
Yes.
All right. So today's episode is sponsored by Samantha Benson with Getinsured.solutions. Tell everybody one more time how they can stay connected with you and learn more about your services.
You can stay connected with me at just by giving me a call at 703. That's my personal number, Kim. I'm still in Virginia. 704-499-3616.
You want them to call you here, right? 704?
Yes.
Okay.
704.
Okay. I'm like, did I put your personal cell number? This is the right number right here, right there. 704 499-3616. 704-499-3616. Samantha, thank you so much for being here and just popping into the studio
Thank
audience
you.
with us today. Your services are tremendous, and I'm glad to know you, and thank you for supporting and contributing to the Kim Jacobs Show.
Thank you. It's my pleasure, and it's an honor and a privilege.
Because you really are helping people bring better balance to their lives by knowing how to have life even after death in this regard. So thank you for your services. All right.
Yes,
So
thank you.
we're gonna take a commercial break and hear from another one of our episode sponsors, which is Hunter Everidge Law Firm. And then we're going to come right back and hear from Dr. Jody Bear. She'll be in the studio when we pop back up from that commercial. And she's America's top health coach. Mackenzie, I'll play it right now. We'll be right back. Thank you, Samantha.
My father had 4 of his fingers amputated in a workplace accident. It was the first injured individual I represented. And I knew I had to win that case. When someone walks into my office and they've been injured, I know what they're going through. If you've been injured at work with Hunter and Everidge. We've got the experience, so let us help you.
All right, everyone. We are here with Dr. Jody Bear. And you know what? Before I even let you hear from Dr. Jody, I had some pictures back here that I had popped up, and I want to acknowledge as I closed out for Samantha Benson that Getinsured.solutions nationwide final expense insurance and life insurance specialist. You definitely want to give her a call and schedule your appointment, your consultation with her. And her why is definitely her 2 beautiful children that she often talks about. I'm just glad to be able to have some of our episode sponsors on today to give you a chance to get to know more about them individually. I see you Facebook users saying good morning to you as well. Dr. Jody Bear, America's top health coach. How are you today?
I am awesome because I'm with you, and I want to tell you, did you know that you and Marilyn Monroe share the same day? So it must be
my whites. I should have worn my white and just
exactly
a fan or something and let the breeze come.
Put your white on. Put your white on for the rest of the day, because let me tell you something. You are as much of a queen as she was. And I just celebrate you and your next circle around the sun, because the blessings and the balance and the just tremendous value that you bring to the world, there's no one like you, Kim.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Jody Bear. You know how to make somebody feel special.
Good. I wore my party earrings too.
Okay. Mighty cute. So talk to us about your services, what you offer, tell us some things.
Well, and Kim, I think the where I want to start is just honoring Samantha and what she said about just a full-blown, what a servant heartfelt leader. I thought of what Les Brown, our mentor, you much longer than me, but he said, what we need in this world is a collective of heart-centered, like-minded servant leaders. She is one of those, because confident, serving, knows what she has. But isn't this interesting? Because I wrote down a few notes as I was doing my morning exercise routine. You know me, 10 rituals to rock your day. I do them all.
Yes.
And I was thinking, okay, obstacles turned into opportunities. See, she had that obstacle to overcome with all that death. I mean, and the reason I want to come back into confidence tones is, which this is one of my products that I gratefully sponsor, the Kim Jacobs Show, because it really does. It's a perfect fit, because it does give you balance in every part of your life. Because see, when you have trauma in your life, Kim, did you know that it goes indelibly? It's permanently goes into your mitochondria. That is the brains of every cell, and it stays there. It's stuck. So when people say, oh, I blow it under the rug, I do this. No, never.
No, you don't.
No, you don't. Even Samantha said this. So see, she turned her obstacle into an opportunity to serve mankind. So just kudos, hats off to you, Samantha. That was totally, and it just led in so perfectly for me to explain a little bit about my collaborative project with confidence tones, because what confidence tones do, they're not like playing an eye, you put your eye earbuds in and you're playing some tunes, and it's not something mystical that you have to be fearful of, because it's an absolute, without a shadow of a doubt, NIH, the WHO, CDC, they all say that musical frequency, there are 5 things in Chinese medicine that you need in your life, 5 elements. And we've talked about them before, but guidance, exercise, nutrition, okay? And you also need, but that 4th one we forget about, okay? And the 4th one we forget about is meditation. And when you meditate and you get still and you get calm with your breath, and that's what confidence tones do, whether you want to lose weight, whether we've got a whole program for trauma detox, which it's 21 days, leads very well into my newly released book, 21 Days, because there is something about that circadian rhythm of 21 days. I have had people that have been clients of mine, been in counseling, which I believe in. But Kim, they've been in counseling for years, a decade or more. And they said, I did this 21 days. I feel differently, because the right tone, and it's just not one tone. It's not binaural. We've overlapped, like thinking about a symphony of orchestra with a particular tones for helping your body assist and get through cancer, go through diabetes. There it is. Kind of goes with our purple color, doesn't it, Kim? But
yes,
it goes into those tones, layering this over alpha, beta, gamma, delta, solfeggio, isochronic, theta, every tone imaginable. So then when you are doing your meditation, you're just breathing, and maybe you fall asleep. But I'm telling you, it is getting into your mitochondria to make a cellular change in your body. And that's what I really want to say, because see, Samantha is making a change in the financials of someone's body. Now we're making that change for them in their physical, emotional. Don't you think those 6 pillars I talk about all the time, your spiritual pillar, physical, mental, emotional, social, and financial, it will all just elevate. Okay?
I love that. Before you go further, I do want people to see the actual Confidence Tones commercial, so that you can get a visual of how that works. This is a commercial that I play very frequently here on the Kim Jacobs Show, so it's not new to you if you're tuning in right now, or even if you're watching the replay. But this is the person behind Confidence Tones, and she is America's top health coach. Her phone number is 800-820, is that 0584, right? I need my red glasses. I think I need to do the commercial.
You're good.
DrJoD.com, DrJoD.com, and it's also ConfidenceTones.com. I'm going to play this commercial now and then give you a chance to come back and talk more, okay? All right, we'll be right back. Here we go.
Welcome to Confidence Tones, where we use a proprietary audio development formula called audio immersion to provide an experience that's designed to help quickly and effortlessly generate positive change in the subconscious mind when used correctly. This experience is achieved using 4 primary building blocks: brainwave modulation, invocation of positive emotions, immersive imagination stimuli, and developmental suggestion. We know of no other source in the world that provides the synergistic combination. With a good pair of headphones, you'll be able to immerse yourself into audio that's designed specifically to help you feel better, do better, and live better.
Right, everyone, we are back. And again, we're talking with Dr. Jody Bear, who is the sponsor of the Kim Jacobs Show with ConfidenceTones.com. So talk to us some more about your 21 days. You've had a conference that recently happened. You've had so many things that go on. So take me in whatever direction you want to go in as my episode sponsor.
Well, we always go together, Kim. That's what I love about our relationship and what we do. And yes, our book, it went from the book to my book, our book. And we talked about this on the Kim Jacobs Show. It has been birthed. It's no longer on colostrum. It is on solid foods. It's out there. 5 5 countries. We went international bestseller, including USA, Canada, Australia, UK, and Brazil. Who knew? And I didn't have to even know Giselle Bunchen, from Brady's ex-wife. It just, who do you know? And it was 16 categories that we went international bestseller. We're still number 2 in self-help and self-esteem. But the thing that I'm most proud of, because we share this common thread of deep spirituality in our lives, Kim, is that there was, out of the 16 categories that we went number 1 in, 7 of them were in spirituality.
Yes.
See, that's
congratulations.
That is when you have your spiritual life in order, then your physical body can be so much there. And the six pillars. So what this is, just as a quick overview for your clients, this was, and your clients, your fans, your people that are the viewing audience, this is a combination of something I started, obstacle, because my pay went down from multiple 6 figures in 1997 to am I going to be able to feed this 17 and 15-year-old sons? Yes, that had that. And not only were they 17 and 15, but that was their shoe size. So they took a lot of food. You know that about boys. You have them. And so obstacle, I created this coursework, a platform, 21 days. I had a different name. I can't express this because I had a licensing agreement with this. But what it did, it allowed me to turn what was my work. See, you believe this. In the Kim Jacobs Show, Balance Doctor, if you've been called, you will be equipped. You just will. Right. Those are the 2 E's in Dr. Joe D. If you've been, if you've been called, if you've been called into this, if you hear that echo of that voice, you will be equipped. Those 2 E's, it will happen. And what happened in this is that I created, and I'm just humble to say and grateful, an 8-figure annual income business within 18 months. People wanted this information. Then I went ahead and did my doctoral work, but didn't have time. I was out on Monday, back on Friday. Didn't have time to write my dissertation until COVID. And so I created a name that was accepted by the thesis committee. And it was the history of the Kabbalah.
Okay.
The history of the Kabbalah in preventative medicine in 6-pillar health to the present day. Now, that's not going to be a name of a book. So I went back to 21. Too long. Went back to 21. Went back, Kim, to this thing about 21 days after. Once again, Bob Baer gets kudos extraordinary. When I said to him, "Do you think I can turn my dissertation into a book like you did?" He goes, "Yeah, and you know how to get it out there to the world. That's just my girl." And this is what the 21 days to your best you. It's that same thing that I talked about in Confidence Stones. There's a silver thread here for sure. The silver thread of knowing that you go with taking that reticular activating system, that circadian rhythm of 21, because not only women have a cycle, but so do men. All human beings, all animals have a cycle of 21 days. So that's how we come through this in 3 pillars, you in relationships, you in the world. But if you want to get a preview, Kim, I did put this in the chat. You can go to drjody.com / in my blog site. And it's we put together the 21 wisdom tidbits. You can take it with you as you're jogging, memorize these quotes, get empowered in your mindset for your skill set.
That's really good. I'm going to pop that up for everyone on the screen, and I'll also say it out loud just because. And guess what I have with me right now? My infamous red glasses. So I found them. All right. So you can go to drjod.com /blog /21 wisdom tidbits. And I have to say that for the audio podcast listeners on iHeartRadio and Spotify and iTunes and everywhere. Okay, so drjod.com /blog /21 wisdom tidbits. That's where you'll get this download from Dr. Jody Baer. That's incredible. And where can people get your book?
Well, they can go to Amazon. It's right there, 21 Days to Your Best You. And you can also get it on Kindle. It's now $4.99 with Kindle. But if you go to my website, this is the beauty of it, that not only will you get the book, but I can sign it and autograph it and mail it to you.
Yeah.
So it's just a nice touch. And also about the book, when I said our book is now universal. When you buy the book, you've got my website there, you've got my email address. Just send me a screenshot that you purchased the book. For you and the Kim Jacobs audience, guess what? I am starting at the end of July. Once I'm back in my home after the mold, we're going to, on the 28th of July, we're starting our 21 days. We're going to do a 21-day blitz, and you can have a ridiculously reduced rate because you're on the Kim Jacobs show. It's an 80% discount on the mastermind.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so listen, everybody, whenever you're watching this, screenshot the book, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, their receipt that they purchased the book.
Your receipt that you purchased the book, screenshot it. Then send that to Dr. Jody Bear. You can send that to her at her website or at her email. Or where else?
Or on social media at Health Coach Jody, Instagram. I'm always there.
Just make sure you DM or send a copy of your receipt that you have it. And that's going to give you an 80% discount when she does a mastermind that she'll be offering towards the end of July, right?
Yes. And you'll have the book, and I know this is bragging, but it's not bragging if you've done it. Is it, Kim? I mean,
it's the truth. If you've done it, how can it be bragging? If you've done it, you've done it.
This program was given to 2,000 Fortune 150 and 500 companies. It was given to 200 NCAA 1A schools, and also a 3-year continual contract with the Department of Defense, with their executives, their military leaders that were coming out. Oh, that's wonderful. Wonderful. Yes. Thank you. But, to think about the Department of Defense, are we in that time right now in the world? What do I do next? Well, we were going through a riff in the military, and they were coming out. And even the Department of Defense noticed that they needed something to do with these leaders from military. What do we do next?
Right.
This is a book for you to discover. What do you do next?
Right. That's good. Okay. This is good. You have to get this book. It will change your life. We went through a program where you were raising funds for a special young lady. I want to take a moment. I know we're going to be ending very shortly here, but I want to take a moment to play that video clip, and then tell us more about that. Give me 1 second. I'm going to pull that up. Let me remove everything else from the screen first of all. But again, we're talking to Dr. Jody Bear, and you've had the opportunity to hear from her some today about 21 days to your best you, and then also about confidence tones, which is what she sponsors the show with. But I want to play this particular video in honor of this young lady. Hold on. Here we go.
Our beloved Danya Safar embodied beauty, genius, insightful design. Our cover and of Ignite's artistry will find all the details of graphic artistry in her intuitive vision. Her soulful insight is felt through her ingenious design. Danya is reflected in Elton John's Candle in the Wind and John Denver's profound lyrics, It's About Time. We're all in this together. May your artistry live on in all of us and in all of those who experience your visual masterpiece of your cover of this book. It is not the length of your life, but the life of your years. As artists and creatives, we will support guiding these children, and you will too, from afar, in her native hometown in Pakistan. Through the School of Hope, half of all proceeds of our book, The 21 Days to Your Best You, Keys for a Life of Excellence, will go to the Danya Safar School of Hope. Rest in peace, Danya. You've left a legacy. When I watched that, Kim, I mean, and it's so fitting what Samantha said about we don't plan to die. I mean, Danya was 32 years old. If any of you have done a book project, you know, probably 90% of it leads to graphics the last 60 days.
Correct.
We were ready to launch May 5th. March 30th, I went ahead and and we had our thrice weekly meeting.
Right.
And I said to her, Danya, because she was from Pakistan, she's Indian. She was, and so she had that kind of connection. And I was just moved to take that song from John Denver, which you couldn't say the lyrics in my voiceover with this video, but what it was is that it's about time. This is when he went to go ahead and be in the Iron Curtain, to go and say that Reagan and Gorbachev were there and the Iron Curtain was coming down. Isn't it about time? And so I was moved because I'm a classically trained vocal musician. I went and took the overview of Elton John singing this, not Elton John, but this was John Denver.
John Denver in that case, right? I knew what you meant.
Went into the studio and I did a voiceover. So she heard my voice and whatever. And I said to Danya, I said, well, I was thinking about waiting until we were done with our book and surprise you with this. I think I'm going to do it today. Kim, this was the last time I saw her. And so I played us singing, and then she wanted to sing it again. And then she sang it with me. And it's like I had a premonition. I said, now, Danya, I said, don't you be partying in Dr. Jody. It's Ramadan. We don't party. Little did we know, her girlfriends, 6 of them, could not escape this hotel fire. There was no escape. It was a historical building. The walls with the lead paint were sealed shut. And what happened is that she died tragically in this fire the 2nd of April. Along with that, all my graphic art. And this is why we need this collective of just in every era of your life, your 6 pillars. You need a Kim Jacobs in your life. You need a Samantha Benson. You need health coach Jody in your life to level you up, because I had no artwork, none. It was gone on her computer. Her life was gone after we grieved and we put this together. A little long story bearable, Kim. I went to some of my people like RJ Nolan. He was able to recreate all of the graphics, 99% with no raw file. It was a miracle. But then the miracle was with Danya, is that I said to JB Owen, who's been on the Kim Jacobs show, know her. And I said, I know you build these schools of hope. She said, our next one is going to be in Cambodia. I said, do you know any children? Do you know anybody in Cambodia? I said, no. And then I said, but you know a little girl who used to live in Pakistan, and her family is still there. We build this next school of hope in Danya Safar's name. Her parents will go by there and they'll see these children that have these graphic art kind of ambitions. And for those of you that the climate is an important thing, these schools are built out of 100% reclaimed and recyclable. You know, these plastic bottles that we drink out of all day, they turn them into bricks. And the school is made of 100% recyclable materials. So I made my mission that I was going to take half the proceeds of my book. I was going to build a school. And then that's how, Kim, you were so gracious with your schedule on a Sunday. We ended our launch with the 21 Days to Your Best You with a life of excellence of people like Bernie Siegel and Jim Marinakis and you and Forbes Riley and on and on and on. Dame Doria Cordova and Rex Sykes. And then Jay Nolan is an end note speaker. What we did during that Sunday, 10 days ago now, is that we raised 2/3 of the money for this $35,000. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to continue for the month of June. Anytime that you purchase our book, now the Universe's book, it's going to go to half of those proceeds to the Danya Safar School of Hope, so we can get this thing built. And last of all, I was going to say, just to kind of share, Kim, what happened to me in this Odyssey.
Yes, please.
Have you ever, Kim, done a project, you were all the way through it and then it just changes?
Yeah, that happens to me often. Yes.
yes. It's called lifing on you. I mean, did we know that Danya was going to tragically die? No. Did we know that Facebook was going to disable my account that I had for 25 years? No. 10 days before, such a beautiful young woman. Oh, look at those. Who knew in the internet site right now and in this day that a brown-haired, brown-eyed girl from Montana would be able to connect with a brown-haired, brown and blue-haired girl, but a brown-eyed girl from Pakistan to create a legacy. That's what we've done generationally. But back to looking at Facebook disabling my account, I had a campaign with 55,000 people that was going on. It was gone. And I said, you can either look at it as an obstacle and quit, or look at and turn it into an opportunity and go, those are two O's. Oh, no just means next option. No just means next option. You go into an opportunity. And I was able to connect with people like you, Kim, and through Dr. Nefertina Serrano that I met. She was the person that knew a lady that was born in Brazil. That's why we got our 5th country. You see, you never know who you know. And I learned this leverage because we need to help each other. That's why I'm so privileged to be your sponsor to the Kim Jacobs Show. And see, now it needs to be updated. Now there are 5. You just pull this stuff up. I just love you. But the idea is, when I said to Les Brown, who wrote the foreword in my book, I said, Uncle Les, you were quoted so many times in this book. Only one other person was quoted more than you. And he goes, was it the Holy Bible? I said, yes, sir. and so it's the Bible according to Les. It's the Bible according to me and my favorite scriptures, but it can be the Bible according to you. And what you do each and every day, Kim, you make your shows pour into people. Can be their life Bible to find balance, to be a mama dreamer as you do. Let's be dreamers and say, let's turn those obstacles into opportunities. You can read information, and guess what? Information is just an experience. When you go in and experience for yourself, it becomes transformational. And Kim, this is what you do each and every day on this show. I honor you for this day. It's yours and Marilyn's day around the sun.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you to our episode sponsor, Dr. Jody Baer. Thank you to our episode sponsor, Samantha Benson, for being physically here today on the Kim Jacobs Show. I want to also just say thank you all for everyone that celebrated my 53rd birthday with me. I greatly appreciate you and do not take it for granted. So a big thank you to every single person for your text messages, your calls, your well wishes, your cash apps, you name it. I personally appreciate it. Thank you so much. And that is today's episode, everyone. We're going to disconnect and have you all have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you for being here, Dr. Jody. Thank you, Samantha Benson. And everybody have a great rest of your day. Close us out, Mackenzie. Talk to you soon, everybody. Bye-bye. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference, and I look forward to you bringing your friends and family to join you in the virtual studio audience Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I look forward to seeing you and make it a great day.